Guys, it's definitely feeling like the calm after the storm here at the Naples Pier, besides some rolling waves and just a few more gusts of wind. But earlier today, the Naples Pier was packed with people watching a beautiful sunset. Well, today I spoke to neighbors living in single-story homes here near Dolphin Drive. They came back to their homes with a layer of muck on the ground. Well, guys, this afternoon the bait shop is open, but if you take a look around, this whole area is a ghost town. Now, just in the last few minutes, we've seen the rain pick up tremendously. The big thing once we got here about 30 minutes ago was the heavy wind gusts. Dave Van Buren bought his twin daughters this kayak as a graduation gift. His vision, seeing them on the water like this. But on Wednesday, the moment they stepped outside, they were struck by a strange odor. Well, Hurricane Ian flattened many of the homes on this street, and with that, leaving behind piles of debris about 20 feet tall. Right now, there's about 50 boats either sitting at the bottom of Estero Bay or washed ashore. All along Main Street, there's mangled messes just like this. Tonight, this crane is finally getting to the second boat to refloat. Yeah, he tells me between the scratches, bruising, and internal bleeding, what happened here was certainly no accident. Well, we've been out here all afternoon, and just over the past couple of hours, winds have picked up significantly, kicking up sand so much that we have to shield our eyes. Well, there isn't much left of Doug Hoover's property here on Matlacha. This is what's left of his home, and he found his boat right next to it, lodged under this bridge. But what he did salvage, 2 kayaks he had padlocked to his neighbor's deck right over here. Well, tonight, this is what's left of it. It's surreal to imagine that just 3 weeks ago, several different places across the causeway were broken up, and today it was a smooth ride over there. Now let's take a look at what we're seeing from the Sanibel side. Traffic is freely flowing. Residents tell me this gives them hope that they can rebuild. Cheers and signs with a warm welcome for residents, business owners, and contractors. Today was the first time entering Sanibel Island on wheels.
Yay! You know, got a bridge open, so things will be different.
Here's a look at the ride over. Crews worked a total of 36,000 hours over 15 days to patch up 5 different spots. The result? This.
I was excited to be able to cross. They did a tremendous job in a short period of time to make it look, very passable,
Surrounded by what was barrier beaches.
The areas where you were used to seeing, trees and sand were gone.
Down Periwinkle Way, Bob Averill, owner of the Islander Trading Post, says there's not much left of his 34-year-old shop to visit anymore.
A lot of people just came in and it was their first stop on the island. The water level was right here.
Ian brought 7 feet of storm surge into the antique shop.
Whether it was military or Popeye or any category that people might collect. And it was a culmination, like I said, of 34 years and gone in a day.
Averill gave up hope to reopen his shop, but after today, his faith the island will rebuild is stronger than ever.
Sanibel people are tough, and it's happening.
Well, it's no question, sand and hurricane debris are almost everywhere across Fort Myers Beach. But if you take a look at Estero Boulevard, it's mostly clear. That's all because of this operation. A first step in the long road to recovery. Hurricane Ian's remarkable storm surge and 155-mile-an-hour winds turned Fort Myers Beach unrecognizable. With that, tightly packed sand and debris stacked multiple feet high.
Everything, literally, the kitchen sink plus more.
Crews are working at Crescent Beach Family Park just south of Times Square, sifting through tons of sand. Crews got to work just days after Ian, starting with Estero Boulevard.
Multiple companies working with each other, multiple agencies working with each other. It's how it should be when something like this happens. Everybody helps.
On site, dropping into piles like this, then unloaded into this hopper, sifting out the clean sand to re-nourish other areas on the island. After losing her newly purchased rental home off Estero Boulevard, Irma Fonseca says seeing this brings hope.
seeing them, all these crews helping and sifting the sand, it makes me happy because we can see that step by step we're going forward.
Now, the county says as of this afternoon, over 73,000 cubic yards of dirty sand has been collected, and 95% of that has been cleaned out to re-nourish the beaches here on Fort Myers Beach.
This is the Mad Hatter before Ian. Today, it got returning Sanibel residents like Dick Fortune teary-eyed.
How would you describe what we're seeing here?
Scary, real scary. But you know what? You got your health. That's everything.
Surrounding it, the Castaways Beach Cottages, known as the place to stay for a beachfront view, right in between Sanibel and Captiva.
There's that lure of being on the beach, different colors. The marina's right over here where you have your boat ramp. So it's a different world. Different world.
Hurricane Ian's storm surge and heavy winds erasing most of them. The few still standing, mere skeletons. Ian flung appliances and couches across the beach, burying cups, pots, even grills in the sand. The sight leaving Fortune speechless.
Words do not describe it.
Across the way, the general store, left with nothing but its roof, spray painted with Roll Tide and Go Blue. Motivation for Fortune to persevere.
How can I help my neighbors? If you're a neighbor here. If you're a visitor, then you might have to put your vacation on hold.
Now, we've seen LCEC and FPL trucks around the island today. We're told that we should get an update on the progress so far sometime tomorrow. Live in Lee County, Jennifer Kveglis, NBC2.
97.4.
This is George Rodriguez,
Sergeant got the blood in there.
Cape Coral's very own 70-year-old miracle.
Ow! 2 years ago, they wanted to put me in hospices. I said, I weighed down to 106 pounds. They didn't think I was going to make it. They called the priest. They called everybody.
His body has been through a lot.
I have a congestive heart failure. Because of that, I've had heart issues for quite a few years. I've had heart attacks that I've never felt. I have stents. I have a pacemaker and a defibrillator.
Now,
see, those are the batteries.
He has a heart that beats different than most through an LVAD, also known as a left ventricular assistance device.
I went up to 7.5.
Since it was first installed last December, he's relied on this backpack to keep him going.
These are actually electrical cables, so it's nothing going through there except electrical cables.
Electrical.
His wife, Evelyn Garcia, says the road to get here hasn't been easy.
It's been so stressful. It's heartbreaking to see him like that.
I've been to the hospital in the last couple of years 15 times.
At least.
At least 15 times.
When Garcia takes him to Cape Coral Hospital, she says oftentimes they're redirected to Gulf Coast Medical Center, Health Park, even Tampa General.
Especially with our senior population and snowbirds coming in and new people moving into Cape, one hospital is not enough.
I think the existing services need to be expanded upon.
Cape Coral Mayor John Gunter has seen the population explode.
I've had some discussion with many representatives of Lee Health and expressed a concern, especially knowing a year ago how our growth was. And here in the last 6 months, it's even compounded more.
Is there any possibility of a second inpatient hospital ever coming to Cape Coral?
Well, I think that possibility may exist.
And how do we best serve a community?
In the meantime, Lee Health COO Dr. Scott Nygaard says there's $150 million worth of short-term plans on the way at Cape Coral Hospital.
We're trying to expand the number of ED rooms available to treat and triage patients accordingly, 6 additional rooms there.
Plus 16 more ICU beds. Near the Bimini Basin at the planned Bimini Square development, a new mixed-use clinic space.
On top of that, Lee Health also recently purchased 2 properties along Southwest Pine Island Road. The first, this 57-acre property. The other, another 22 acres, just a few blocks away. The question of what will go where is still up in the air.
A mix of things like outpatient office practice, surgery center, freestanding ED, observation beds, a host of things.
Lee Health outpatient facility off Surfside Boulevard also getting a 14,000 square foot expansion. Growth from Southwest Florida's largest health provider that can't come soon enough.
Here, hold this one.
For people like Rodriguez and Garcia, it could be the difference between life and death.
It's been so stressful because I know we're not the only ones with this problem.
In Cape Coral, Jennifer Kveglis, NBC2.
Jen, you have been all over this week, from Fort Myers Beach to Sanibel, Captiva, surveying the damage in all of these communities. Compare that to Pine Island and moving forward for us.
Well, it's hard to compare the devastation that I've seen from place to place. These barrier islands have gotten hit really hard, and a lot of people have lost basically everything that they've ever known. These communities are beloved, and the timelines are definitely different depending on whether it's on Pine Island, not having access to the island for a few days after Ian, and then you think of people like on Sanibel and Captiva who had to wait quite a while unless they had access by boat to see their homes. The devastation is widespread, like I just said, but Pine Island seems to be getting some power back, and these people are either picking up and moving away, or they're demolishing their homes and ready to rebuild. But the people who are still here are dedicated to Pine Island, and it really is a heartwarming thing to see, despite all of the heartbreak we are seeing everywhere across Southwest Florida. I'm live on Pine Island. Jennifer Kveglis, NBC2.